A Florida McDonald's employee shot at some angry customers. A Florida dentist was arrested for making hundreds of online threats. A playground was stolen from a Florida school for children with autism. And a Florida woman shot her roommate because he didn't clean up after himself. These are the stories for Friday on Weird AF News. They're all from the state of Florida because it's Florida Friday on Weird AF News. Let's do it. A Florida McDonald's employee shot at customers who claimed their order was incorrect. I'm guessing they didn't order a side of bullets. This story's out of Lakeland, Florida. A Florida woman, McDonald's employee, was arrested while working at McDonald's. Police say she fired shots at customers who complained about their order. This is definitely a McFelony. And, as much as I don't condone violence, it's, I have to say it's kind of refreshing to see the situation reversed for once. It's always the customers firing at the employees through a drive-through. Now we have the employee firing back, guys. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I understand. According to the Lakeland, Florida police, officers responding to the McDonald's, they had reports of a shooting at 1 a.m. Police say the argument began when customers ordering in the drive-through window told the 22-year-old McDonald's employee, Chastity Gardner, our Florida woman star of the story, that their order was incorrect. Well, it's 1 a.m., man. Give her a break. She's been there all day. It's a 12-hour shift, probably. She's 22 years old. There's places that she'd rather be. She's probably stoned. It's 1 a.m. She's 22. You don't think she's high working a McDonald's drive-thru? Give her a break. She forgot your extra fries, your ketchup, whatever it was. You wanted a Big Mac with no O. That means no onion. Well, maybe she forgot to do the no O. Wait. Be kind. I'm going to guess they started just chastising Chastity. Do you think for 1 minute a Florida man goes up to the McDonald's employee and says, "Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to bother you. It's really late. You've probably been working a long shift, but you just forgot I had an order of nuggets, not fries. If you could replace the fries with the nuggets, I'd appreciate that. I'll wait over here in the park." You think that happened? These are Florida people. Of course it didn't happen that way. They went up there. They probably called her a POS all over her for getting it wrong. Now, I'm not saying she should take out a gun. I'm just saying I understand. Now, according to the police report, both parties were arguing through the drive-through window, and as the customers were leaving, police say Chastity threw a drink at them. Yeah, she was probably tired of being called what they probably called her. She's been degraded it's hard enough working in a McDonald's in Florida. Can you imagine? Two of the customers then exited the vehicle. It wasn't over. They pried open the drive-through window. Isn't that trespassing? I love how I'm on the side of Chastity. They proceeded to throw drinks at her. So she then armed herself with a handgun. Arm herself. It was probably already in her pocket. This is Florida, where you can totally conceal carry without a permit. I mean, that's insane, but that's how it is. So she probably didn't arm herself. All right. She wasn't keeping it in the freezer in her backpack. No, it was in her pocket. Let's be real. The customers drove around the building, and Chastity walked outside to argue further. Yeah, she probably should have stopped with all of that. And then it says, as the vehicle exited the parking lot, Chastity fired her weapon, hitting the vehicle at least once. Yeah, not okay either. They're already leaving, Chastity, at that point. If their face was still in your drive-through window, maybe, shoot the side of the wall just to scare them, I'd say, scare them away. When the officials made it to the scene, I assume officials means police, both parties were still there in the parking lot. They were still there? That's very odd. Maybe they were trying to hash things over, This, of course, ended with the arrest of our Florida woman star of the story, Chastity Gardner, arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. So sad, so sad. My hot take on this is McDonald's workers should be allowed to shoot at customers just to keep them in check, man, because they're really getting attitudes these days. They're really overstepping their boundaries. I'm not saying they're able to kill them. Just, maybe wound them, shoot them in the foot or something. Just to send a little message like, hey, you can't act however you please at a fast food joint. You can't verbally assault or physically assault the employees, which is what's been going down for a bit. Have you seen these videos coming from the Waffle Houses? My goodness, it's out of control. A Florida dentist is arrested after making hundreds of online threats, even death. A Florida man dentist out of Tampa is accused of sending some online threats to multiple people, including a politician. Wow. You can't be sending online threats to people, regular people. A politician's okay, though. I give him a pass on that one. I want to threaten politicians all the time. They're just deplorable human beings. They're dumpster fires. They have dumpster fires in their souls, if I may say so. We are led by the least among us. That's an understatement. Anyways, this guy was arrested in a particular county that I'm sure you're very familiar with. Say it with me on three. 1, 2, 3. Pinellas County. Wow, Pinellas County, man. Just churning out approvable behavior. We have federal investigators. They say that Florida man Richard Cantwell sent hundreds of online messages threatening injury or even death, even after the agents with the FBI told him to stop. Oh, well, they went over his house. Could you please stop sending death threats online? And they didn't arrest him in that moment. I mean, talk about white privilege at its finest. We're just going to ask you to please stop doing the death threats online. Now, it says here, Florida man Cantwell, age 60. He was 60, so you know all the death threats happened on Facebook. He faces 3 counts related to interstate transmission of a threat to injure. Interstate transmission of a threat to injure. Oh, a very, very eloquent way to put it. I find it a little strange that he's only facing 3 counts of threat to injure, despite sending hundreds of threats. Very odd. Court records presented a few of the threats made by Cantwell. Redacted text messages and emails contain apparent expletives, including what appear to be racial and anti-gay slurs as well. In one text message, Cantwell made death threats to a person he identified as a fake reverend. Now, one of the texts from Cantwell to this, quote, fake reverend reads, "Being the Antichrist POS that you are, we're going to kill you. Torture first, then death." Well, that escalated quickly. The victim installed nearly $4,000 worth of surveillance cameras after receiving these threats because he had a genuine fear of Cantwell. A private message sent by Cantwell through Instagram to another person reads, quote, "Cannot wait to shoot your ghetto ass in the street," followed by a racial slur. Yeah, this guy's not okay. It says here in September, Cantwell wrote to another victim, quote, "God bless the great President Trump and his family. F you and yours. Hire extra security, man. You're gonna need it." Well, the next month, FBI interviewed Cantwell, told him to stop sending the messages. Could you just stop sending death threats, man? Unbelievable. It's nice to know what the limit is for death threats. Once you hit 100, then the FBI arrests you. You get 100 free ones, guys, though, apparently. Despite the FBI's warning, Cantwell spent the next 10 months sending threats to over 40 victims. 10 months sending threats to 40 victims. This is unbelievable that he was allowed to go on doing this. Again, white privilege at its finest. Now, in February, I can never say February, I flip you for real. In Feb, Cantwell threatened a politician. Ooh. I'd imagine that's when the FBI really got on his ass. They told him twice, please don't do that. Here's the message to the politician. Take note, because liberal blanks, liberal beep, like you get raped in alleys. You are our number one target, you degenerative bleep. Well, I guess he's threatening rape here. This guy's not all right. Dentists, man, they're going through some shit, guys. Dentists are going through. They're like the number one suicide candidates in the nation. They say dentists commit suicide. They can't handle it. This guy's clearly out of his gourd. Cantwell boasted about his weapons collection in Facebook messages, indicating he had a large collection that he would never surrender. Investigators said he sought to buy automatic and highly illegal firearms from another Facebook user. Wow. How long did you just let this guy go on and on, FBI, like this? I mean, this is total failure of the justice system. The dentist wrote about, quote, enjoying the violence of his military service. telling some people over Facebook that he, quote, loved creating widows and orphans. Ugh. Sorry, guys. I threw up in my mouth a little bit over the existence of this person. Now, thankfully, this Florida man, psychopath, was booked into the Pinellas County Jail on Tuesday evening as being held without bond. Well, so we're going to find out if the law has any teeth with this. They're going to have to drill down into the facts and chew on this. Hopefully he doesn't see the light of day. Definitely keep him off Facebook. A playground was stolen from a Florida school for children with autism. Are you sure it's stolen, or maybe the kids just can't find it? This story's out of Jacksonville, Florida. It begins with there one day and gone the next. Growing Together Behavioral Center had just finished installing their brand new playground for the children with autism. Amazing new playground, had that brand new playground smell before all the urine gets on it. This was at their new location on Art Museum Drive. You guys know the spot. But when the staff of the behavioral center came to begin the week of work, they were very surprised to find there was nothing left of the playground except for the studs in the ground where the playground was. So sad. The girls were shocked, says Executive Director Melissa Kramer. A couple of them got here before me and were like, Melissa, what are you doing with the playground? Melissa wasn't sure what her employees were talking about, so she looked back at the playground that the school had just paid to have installed. To her surprise, it was gone. It was completely missing. Melissa, very confused, she says, quote, I just don't know how you take a 30-foot playground. Oh, how cute, the naivete of Melissa, who doesn't quite understand the ambitions of tweakers. They'll take anything that isn't locked up, my dear. Are you new to Florida? Did she just get there? She's living in Cracksonville, of all places. Now, the only clue left behind as evidence was strips of pink tape that was placed on their surveillance cameras. Wow, sounds like these tweakers had a real complex plan. Those cameras show two figures wandering outside near the playground around 3:30 a.m. Monday morning before the tape blocked the view of what happened next. Melissa says, they took the swings, they took the slide, they took the monkey bars. It's just gone. It's so bizarre. Oh, poor Melissa. She's so naive. Lady, don't you know how much cough syrup you can get for a brand new playground? You know what these things are worth? It's thousands of dollars, I assume. I'll trade you this playground for your meth tent, bro. Need to make me some goodies. Now, Kramer filed a report with the Cracksonville Sheriff's Office, which is now investigating the missing playground as a grand theft, estimating its value between $5,000 and $10,000. Yeah, these things are worth a lot of money, and if you don't lock them up, unfortunately, they're going to be the target of crackheads and whatnot. Melissa says that something good has got to come out of this, and our kids need a swing. Poor Melissa. I hope the community's pitching in to get them a whole new playground. It says they also just spent $12,000 on mulch for the ground of the new playground. So they're hoping they can either find the stolen play set or the community will support them in getting a new set so that the children with autism will have a place to play when school begins on August 12th. Anyone else surprised that mulch is this much money? $12,000 for mulch? Oh, I'm in the wrong business, man. Do the crackheads know how much mulch is worth? I mean, that's like just as much, or if not more than the playground, all this mulch. But I mean, it's pretty clear this Ocean's 12 team of crackheads had their eyes set on the playground specifically and had it all staked out and planned out. And it looks like we got some hella stupid Florida ding-dongs trying to figure out how to smoke a playground this evening. Last week we tried to smoke the stolen dodgeballs, man. I said we need a bigger pipe. Yay! A Florida woman shot her roommate because he didn't clean up after himself. Well, look, I ain't saying it's right, but I understand. I've had many roommates in my life. Some of them have been extremely messy. And their lifestyle is your lifestyle, really, because you're living with someone. Living with people isn't ideal. I just can't afford to do otherwise. I've been living in very expensive cities. I've had roommates for the past, 15 years, maybe more. I probably had 20 roommates in my life. Pretty crazy. At one point, I lived with 3 other people in my last apartment in downtown LA. I lived with 4 of us oh man. I mean, this was a crazy situation. I'm not proud of it, but I can't afford to live alone. I wish I could. If I want to live alone, I basically have to walk out into the woods and build myself a lean-to against a tree. And then now, voila, no roommates except for the bears. All right, well, this story is out of Tampa. A dispute over cleaning led to a deadly shooting in a Tampa home. According to the Tampa police, at about 9:30 a.m., officers responded to a home where they found a man who was shot in the upper body multiple times. This is a homicide, I assume. The victim was taken to a hospital for treatment where he died of his injuries. My goodness, so sad. This is really horrible. Police say the suspect is Florida woman Patricia Whitehead, 71 years old. 71, Patricia, just tired of it. Just can't live this way. Dishes in the sink. Where's my gun? Popcorn on the floor. Where's my gun? Patricia Whitehead was the victim's roommate and was angry at him for not cleaning up after himself, according to the investigators. Whitehead heard the victim slam the door while he exited the home. She took a gun from her bedroom, followed the victim outside, shooting him several times in front of the house. This was clearly pre-planned. She was waiting for him to exit the house because, if she shoots him in the house, you know what that means? More mess. And Patty Whitehead's not about the messes. She has to constantly clean up after this guy. She doesn't want to clean up blood and guts either. We have a quote here from a woman. They're not saying who this woman is. Somebody told me he told the landlord and people in the house if he dies, she killed him. She's the one who did it. She killed him. He knew that she was going to kill him. Who is this lady? This mystery lady with the quote? She says her husband was the victim. She's the wife of it. Was she living there too? It doesn't indicate that. Was just the husband living there and this woman lived elsewhere, although they were married? Was the victim living with his wife? But he was too messy. She kicked him out. Then he moved in with Whitehead and continued his messy ways. She says her husband did not deserve to die this way. He's a loving, kind, he's a gentle. She's missing some nouns here, I think. She continues to say, he don't hurt no one. He worked. He's got 4 kids. Where's the kids? You got a wife and 4 kids and you're living with this lady? Man, I have so many questions about the situation. Whitehead was charged with first-degree murder, obviously. I anticipate Whitehead's going to do some time, unless it's a jury made up of mostly women. Yay! Hello, my friends and my loyal listeners of Weird AF News. Thanks for joining me for this Florida Friday episode, and a big shout-out to everybody who sent me Florida articles the past couple days. Very, very appreciative and made my job a lot easier. You can always send me things to funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can drop them in my Instagram DMs at funnyjones on Instagram. So please follow me. You can call the show if you'd like to leave a voicemail, 646-450-2012. Please state your name and where you're from or where you are. Introduce yourself. Say hello. I love to hear from my listeners. And I want to give a shout out right now to Lily Rodering. Lily Rodering, did I pronounce that correctly? Is it Rodering or Rodering? I can't recall. Lily's been an OG fan of the show for a long, long time. You've probably heard her on the voicemails. She's called in many times. She's an amazing human being and a big supporter of Weird AF News. Well, she became a member of the Patreon. I want to say she used to be a member of the Patreon, but then no longer, then came back. Welcome back if that's the case. And I want to thank you, Lily, for showing the utmost support for Weird AF News by joining the Patreon. It's a great way to do it. You also get access to a lot of weird extra content that I put into the Patreon and some personal stuff about me, like personal stories that I write and put in there. There's even some bonus episodes that I recorded back in the day with my buddy Dave, who's moved to Tennessee, so he's no longer available. But yeah, there's some bonus episodes. Just a lot of amazing content in there. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of weird content in there. So you get access to that when you join the Patreon. It's like a little extra. So get something for your money. You also get the good feeling knowing that you're supporting a one-man production inside a closet. That's pretty cool. How many one-man productions inside a closet can you recall? Anyways, if you want to join the Patreon, just go to patreon.com/weirdafnews or download the Patreon app on your phone and do a search for Weird AF News, or just go to weirdafnews.com, which is the official website of Weird AF News. You can click on the Patreon banner, or you can click on the banner that says buy me a coffee, and you can buy Jonesy a coffee. And I might not buy coffee with it. I might buy other chemicals with it. I'm just saying, this is a full disclosure here over at Weird AF News headquarters. Headquarters. That's a good one. Anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, or you had one, or you were about to have one, and good luck with your life, man.